Welcome back to our YouTube channel, everyone. We are Lanny and Bert with the Dividend Diplomats. We have a very exciting episode for you today.
Smash that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, turn that bad boy blue so we can reach out to the millions and millions of dividend investors out there and soon-to-be investors. We're here to bring you another Dividend Diplomat YouTube video, and this is all focused on Bert. The spotlight is on. It's here. His 5 always buy dividend stocks.
That's perfect. Thank you, Lanny. So what are my 5 always buy dividend stocks? We find so much value in doing the hard work, research, preparation ahead of time. We are huge advocates for building lists. We built our top 5 foundation stock for you in your portfolio dividend list. We're constantly building monthly dividend stock watch lists. It's all geared towards the importance of performing research and doing all that due diligence up front. So for me, over the years, what I wanted something easy, and I wanted to get 5 companies that I knew were great dividend stocks, had already performed well in their sectors, and have some great dividend growth over the years. Now, the one thing I don't consider in this list is their current valuation, because I'm just looking for stocks that when I build my watch list, I can jump right in and see if they are undervalued at that moment in time. So this list will just pick these 5 cream of the crop companies in my mind.
And as always, keep in mind, if you haven't noticed yet, we are dividend investors. So, these 5 stocks are going to be 5 dividend, growth stocks, and we are primarily using dividend income as our, best form of passive income to reach financial freedom. And, we're here to try to make it easier for you on kind of where to start, what stocks to look at, what stocks to buy, what to keep on the lookout for as we help you on your own journey. Whether that's to be better with your finances on your own journey to financial independence, or just simply for financial education purposes. And I know that these are 5 stocks that Bert holds near and dear to his heart. Mm-hmm. And I've seen him grow his portfolio from the ground up. Feel free to check out the Dividend Diplomats blog and at our portfolio page, and you could see these 5 dividend stalwarts in Bert's listing.
Yep, that's the fun part of it. I've backed it up and I own each one of these stocks, and it's been fun adding them over the years.
Well, Bert, I think it's about time to see what entry number 1 is.
Entry number 1, 3M Company, ticker symbol MMM. 3M is one of my favorite companies to own. I have added it over the years. I will always advocate when I see the market drop suddenly and there's a flash sale in the market, 3M is the first ticker symbol that I usually type in. Why do I love 3M? They are a industrial conglomerate that has dominates the consumer sector, and they also dominate industrial. So they are just crushing it from that perspective. Have you heard of the brands Post-it Note, your Scotch Tape, your Filtrite, your NextCare? Those are the major consumer brands. In an industrial standpoint, those N95 masks that have just been critical to fighting off this pandemic and keeping our healthcare workers safe. Those are 3M's masks. They've been heavily ingrained in the process of manufacturing these in bulk capacity.
And when you think of 3M, you take a look at a few of their kind of flat metrics. They're going to be yielding actually over the S&P 500, and 3M is actually yielding even closer to 4%, at least 3.7% right now. And then, on top of that, they have a long-term dividend growth streak. And Bert, how many years do you have them on the docket for?
61 consecutive years they have increased their annual dividend. They are one of the longest tenured dividend kings. And for those of you, just a quick refresher, a dividend king is a company that has increased their dividend for 50 plus consecutive years. It's a dividend royalty, baby. That's the fun of it. So with their strong brand presence, their great yield today, that allows them to increase their cash flows and dividend over the years. That is why 3M is on my list as number 1.
You really love 3M, it looks like.
Yes, it is.
Man, your wife better be afraid over here. You're about to put another M next to married on 3M.
And I'll write it on a Post-it note.
Oh my God.
I'm kidding.
Wow. Now that we've talked about 3M as his number 1 stock, it's time to steamroll right into number 2. And we're talking about the good old reliable, one of our top 5 foundation stocks for your portfolio, Johnson & Johnson, ticker symbol J&J. Take it away.
That is right. All right, let's just dive right into the brands, because that, in my mind, is where Johnson & Johnson, it puts themselves in the top tier status. Their brands include Tylenol, Motrin, Zyrtec, Benadryl, Neutrogena, Aveeno, Rogaine, Lubriderm. Getting tired of me listing these out yet? I'll just throw this all into the next one into one giant
Zoom,
category.
Toilets, flushing, background.
One day maybe they'll add that to their portfolio. But the last one I was going to say was just the overall baby product and baby care. They are dominant. These are some of the top brands that generate cash flow for Johnson & Johnson and will continue to do so over the year.
And Bert may be wearing male Depends right now.
That I am not. But from a yield perspective, they are yielding about 2.7%, so not nearly as high as 3M, but well above the market. So you're getting a nice premium there. And they, like 3M, are a dividend king as well. They have increased their dividend for 57 consecutive years. And what's really cool about Johnson & Johnson in my mind is they increased their dividend during the pandemic.
6%.
Yeah, that was an awesome 6%. So as companies were running to the hills, they were cutting their dividend, preserving their cash flow. Johnson & Johnson looked in the mirror and said, you know what, we're just going to continue increasing and keep it at a percent that's right in line with their historical average.
And what's really cool about Johnson & Johnson, and as Bert already said, they're over 57-ish years of consecutive increases. The reason why they're good old reliable is because that dividend growth rate is consistently between 6 and 7%. So it's almost like you know what you're going to get. And partly, I think that's probably why the Oracle, Warren Buffett, even has Johnson & Johnson in his portfolio.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly why that's why they're on my list. And I guess it's okay for Warren to throw them on his as well.
All right, so now that we're through 2 dividend stocks on Bert's 5 always buy and forever, it's time for number 3. He's coming down the ramp.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I am a real American. Uh-oh, you remember our battle between Pepsi and Coke. Check out that link above if you haven't seen the battle of the 2 Dividend Aristocrats software beverage companies.
Yep.
So without further ado, number 3 is
Hollywood Hogan, Hollywood Lanny, aka
No, what is 3 on your
It
list,
is
Bert?
Pepsi, ticker symbol PEP, the soft beverage giant. Pepsi has some of the strongest brands in the beverage industry. But what separates them from even their competitor Coke, it's not just the beverages, it's the snacks. Frito-Lay, Doritos, you have all of their chips and all their items that you can find everywhere in everybody's house and at a party near you.
That's right. And I mean, in addition to, just the brand diversification that they have, they do so well domestically, but they also do very well internationally.
Yes.
And, because of all the billion-dollar brands that they have in their portfolio at their disposal, they can really test out markets to see which one works, which is why Pepsi just continues to perform very well. Even with the increase in their stock price, their dividend continues to grow kind of in line with it. And currently they're even yielding at 3%, which is, above the S&P 500 or the overall broader market. And they are only 2 years away from that dividend king status.
So they'll get that crown soon. But I think a quick story of mine to just highlight Lanny's point about how they have the money to enter and dominate a new market. I think just look at the seltzer water. You have LaCroix, who just hit the ground running and took over the industry, and Pepsi came in, took some time and developed their own product. And they've been eating away at LaCroix's market share and have now established themselves in that sector as well. So they may not be the first, but they can definitely take over an industry and dominate.
Gatorade, Bubbly, they have their water brand. So when you think of Pepsi, they're not always for those investors who think young, but they're for all dividend or normal investors.
Perfect. So let's just jump right into stock number 4 on the list. Target, ticker symbol TGT. Remember, I built this list 5 years ago.
Bullseye.
And the bullseye, yeah. Boom. So when I built this list, we had already loved Target. I had added them to the list because they were a consumer favorite. They always had long lines. They were rolling out Cartwheel. They had their 5% credit card. There were a lot of people that had brand loyalty to Target that I hadn't seen. So what heightened and solidified their spot on this list is how they cater to parents. My wife and I buy everything for our daughter at Target. We use the Target brand diapers. We use the Target brand formula.
Target brand male Depends.
Yep, they even have those there too. They offer great rewards. They offer great gift cards to keep you coming back for buying. A lot of them are spend $100, you get $20 on your next purchase, and that helps when you're racking up some of those baby expenses. So that just solidified why I put Target on my list.
Now Target really has taken off in the last couple of years as they've been able to really get it right. With their quicker delivery times to your house, the very quick pickup times, with the target pickup in their designated areas. In addition, they already have a slogan. I don't know how many times I've heard, I'm going on a Target run. Do you need anything? I mean, Target's really developed that cliche kind of word reference right there. And it's the joke and the meme that goes around. You go in with Target with 2 items on your list and you walk out with 20 items. And what better business to invest in when, no matter what you're having the consumer go in there, and what they think they're going to spend is going to be dramatically more. I like that.
Yeah, and think about what's crazy about that alone, what you said right there, Lanny, is they're competing against Amazon, they're competing against Walmart, 2 other major, but Target has carved out their own niche and they continue to get people coming back.
So their price has really skyrocketed over the last few years. So with that, their current yield is not going to be as strong. They're right around what the S&P 500 yields. So that kind of goes hand in hand. When your stock price increases so fast, the yield usually seesaws downward. So the dividend growth hasn't kept up yet with the stock price growth.
Yep, and they are close to being a dividend king as well. They have increased their dividend for 48 consecutive years. Wow. So like Pepsi, they'll do it in the same year. I think Pepsi will announce the increase first, but Target's more in the middle of the year. So again, fantastic dividend growth over the years.
Yep, so it's time to round out with the 5th stock on Bert's Always Buy list, and that is a company that you may or may not have heard of.
Emerson Electric, ticker symbol EMR. I know, I'm sure you're just as shocked as Lanny with this. You were probably expecting Procter & Gamble and some of the other foundation stocks we have, even AT&T, one of my other personal favorites. However, I wanted to change the flavor with Emerson Electric. Similar to 3M, they are an industrial conglomerate and they are a giant as well. And while they don't have the consumer brands, they are well ingrained in everything around you. So you don't see the Emerson brand, but trust me, they impact your day-to-day life. And that's exactly what I want to see when I add a company to my always buy listing. They offer a higher yield too than the market, much higher than Target. They're currently yielding around 3.1%. And unlike Target and Pepsi, they are dividend kings. And in fact, they have a longer dividend increase streak than 3M. They've increased their dividend for 63 consecutive years.
Wow, that's almost how old you are.
It's getting up there.
No, all jokes aside, how is Emerson's dividend growth?
Okay, so
I'm really interested here.
Not very great, and that is why they're number 5 on this listing. In fact, their dividend growth has been downright pathetic over the last few years. They barely, if they even come close to beating inflation, which is very sad in this environment. However, that is why they are number 5 on my list. This isn't a stagnant list. There are many great dividend stocks. It's hard enough to come with 5 anyway, so I can always have the freedom to move companies on and off this list. So that's where if Emerson doesn't pick up their dividend growth this year and maybe even next year, I may swap them out for that Procter & Gamble, Realty Income, or AT&T. 3 other great, fantastic dividend stocks.
Yeah, so there you have it. Those were Bert's 5 always buy now and forever stocks. If you actually take a step back and look at the 5, from the ground up of Emerson, Pepsi, Target, J&J, and 3M, these are all business models that you can understand. You know how they make money. The complexity to their business is not very, high or confusing. Right. And that's how investing should be. You should be able to understand what you're investing in. It should be boring because if it's exciting, there's probably too much going on, within their industry or, obviously volatility in the stock price, and they more than likely may have a volatile dividend as well. Yep. So here are 5, pretty straightforward stocks that you can see and people use every single day. And, because of that, you're not going to see, all the investors thinking that these are sexy. It's not your Tesla, your Netflix, your Amazon. Nothing against those companies, but these companies again are simple to understand, provide you dividend and dividend growth, and are staples in any dividend investor's portfolio.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic point, Lanny. And for everyone there too, coming up with 5 for me was hard. I'm sure you have your 5 favorite dividend stocks as well, so please leave them in the comments section. I would love to hear which ones are your favorites and why you put them in there. Especially for this video, I'm going to be extra on top of answering back to comments because I just want the interaction and I want to learn just as much as all of you do.
All right, well, Bert's limelight is off. This was Bert and Lanny from the Dividend Diplomats. Over and out.